Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. As Austin Jackson goes, so goes the Tigers offense. Jason's coming off the disabled list, leads the American League with 12 runs scored. He'll try and get the Tigers offense started again here tonight. Game 2 in this 3-game series featuring the Tigers and the Los Angeles Angels. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen. We are thrilled to have you with us here tonight for Game 2 in the series. And Rod, there's a good thing about baseball. There is always a game the next night. There is always an ability to kind of brush back a tough night like last night.
You know, and that's what Jim Leland always talks about. You can't chew on yesterday's breakfast. And that breakfast yesterday was absolutely horrible. But they get back out there today, and they go up against a very good team right here at home where they play good baseball.
I love that saying, by the way. As far as the Tigers pitching staff is concerned, last night a tough night for Rick Porcello. We're seeing a little bit of a trend now. The Tigers starting rotation had been awesome, but on this homestand, they have fallen back a bit.
Well, you knew that there would be some kind of a resetting as far as the staff was concerned because they were pitching such great baseball. But in this homestand, they've gone up against some good teams, the Orioles, the Boston Red Sox, and they haven't done very well. Last 8 games, the ERA is approaching 7. They've given up a lot of earned runs, and Porcello and Pfister and Verlander, they haven't gotten it done, but we know what they do every 5th day, and there's no doubt that those guys will get it going again. It'd be lovely for Alvarez to start him off once again here tonight.
All right, after a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios in Mickey York, but coming up tonight, it indeed will be Jose Alvarez making his 3rd start in relief of Anibal Sanchez. Stay with us. Tigers Halos, Game 2 next. And welcome back to Comerica Park. Game 2 in this series featuring the Tigers and the Angels, and a gorgeous night for baseball here in the Motor City. J.B. Shuck is leading things off for the Halos. Jose Alvarez brings it home in a wave and a miss by the leadoff man Shuck. Angels a winner last night in Game 1 of the series, and Shuck had a big night, was 3 out of 5 with 4 RBIs. He also scored 2 runs. Alvarez making another start for Anibal Sanchez. The 0-2 is outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Alvarez, 23 years old, out of Barcelona, Venezuela. Now the 1-2. And he checked it outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
The Angels this season, 1 game under 500 against left-handed starters. They are 9-10 against southpaws.
And now Shuck waiting on a 2-2. Here it is. And he slices one foul back into the seats. Shuck batting .301 thanks to his big night last night. He is 7 for his last 12. Peter Borges able to play last night as a defensive replacement, but Shuck started the game playing in left field as he is tonight. Here's the 2-2. Popped up left side of the infield for Cabrera. Foul ground and 1 out. Here's the rest of the Angels starting lineup tonight, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Aside from Shuck, they have Trout, Pujols, and Trumbo at the top, Hamilton, Callaspo in the middle, and then Iannetta catching tonight. Ivar and Brendan Harris round out their lineup, and they are facing Jose Alvarez, who is presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
He has acquitted himself very nicely up here in the 2 starts he's had, 1 against Cleveland, 1 against Boston. He's got a fastball in the low 90s. He's got a slider. He's got a curveball and a changeup that fades away from the right-handed batters.
And he faces Trout now with the bases empty. Mike Trout in the 2 spot in the lineup. 2 out of 6 last night. Couple of RBIs. Another strong year for the young outfielder. 48 driven in so far. Here's the 1-0. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes.
Alvarez, one of the few starting pitchers that you will see come out to start the game pitching out of the stretch. Feels more comfortable pitching out of the stretch than he does the windup.
6 innings in his first start for the Tigers. Off speed out in front, 2-1.
There's that change piece. And we'll see that pitch quite often today, especially against guys like Trout and Trumbo, fading down and away underneath the barrel of the bat.
A couple of runs in 5 innings in his last outing for Alvarez. There's a bouncing ball to third. It flattens out on Cabrera, who kicks it and has no play.
A couple of rough nights for Miguel from a defensive standpoint, and really by and large has been very good at that position going back to last year when he made the transition from first base to third base. This year he was handling himself very nicely until last night, committed 2 errors and 1 more here today.
6 errors for the Tigers last night. They have their first of the ball game here tonight. And so Trout, who becomes a running threat, is aboard at first base.
And very important for Alvarez to make sure he keeps Trout on first base, and he should be able to do so. Being left-handed, Trout should not get a good jump.
Ball 1 outside.
19 steals for the very talented outfielder for the Los Angeles Angels. He's only been caught 3 times.
There is his lead at first base, being held by Fielder. Here's the 1-0, and Pujols looks at a strike. 1-1 on Albert. Pena behind the plate at 24%, 23.8 to be exact in terms of throwing out runners, 5 of 16.
The Angels, they ground into a lot of double plays. 79 of those so far this year, which is 10 more than any other club in the majors.
Well, here's a good candidate right here in Pujols, who is not running all that well these days if he puts the ball on the ground. And he has knocked into 14 so far this year.
Yep, that's why I brought it up.
You're right on the money. Here's the 2-1 coming home. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
One thing that Alvarez can't get caught up in doing is throwing too many changeups early. because that's his go-to pitch, and that's the pitch he'll use throughout the game. But the Angels have a talented group, and if he goes to the pitch too often, then one or two of their hitters will sit on that pitch, and they will hit it very hard here tonight.
That is popped up foul. That'll get back into the seats.
I like when he does that. He doesn't throw very hard, but he's not afraid to pitch right-handers inside. And he also changes eye levels very well by going upstairs with the fastball to see if he can get some guys to chase it.
Mark Trumbo waiting on deck. Just underway here. The Angels have a man on, a man out. And the Halos have beaten the Tigers 7 consecutive games. And the 2-2 inside, and it hit him. And so Pujols will limp down the line at first base, and some early trouble now for Alvarez. Rick Smith, their trainer now, their head athletic trainer, or one of their athletic trainers, will come out. And that caught him on the toe. Ooh. On the left foot, right on the toe.
Second batter that Alvarez has hit since coming up to the big leagues. He also hit, who was it he hit 3 days ago? He hit Victorino of the Boston Red Sox on that same left foot.
So now 2 men on for Mark Trumbo, who looks to do some early damage here. Trumbo last night was only 1 for 6, but he scored twice. Ball low, 1-0.
You always have to keep an eye on Mike Trout. He is 3 of 3 in stealing third base this year. A little easier to steal third base than it is second base. You can get a good, nice secondary lead because the second baseman and the shortstop are giving you quite a bit of room.
Trumbo sends a bouncer up the middle. This might be 2. Peralta shovels to second. 1, and a double play ends the inning. 6-4-3, and there's your twin killing. Inning, and Jeff Jones having a chat with Jose Alvarez, who pitched out of a jam by getting a double play ball after hitting a batter in that first inning. And now the Tigers starting lineup is presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, and there's AJ at the top, Austin Jackson in center field, followed by Hunter and Cabrera. No changes there. No changes in the middle as well. Fielder Martinez, Peralta. Your bottom 3 has Dirks tonight at left, and then Infante and Brian Pena is doing the catching. And Tommy Hanson was scheduled to start this game. A late scratch because of some tightness in his forearm, so Billy Buckner will get the emergency call.
And Buckner pitched in last night's game. He threw 11 pitches in the game. These are his AAA numbers. 12 starts for the Bees, 6-2 record with a 4.50 ERA. He features a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. Tim Hortons will sponsor the starting defense for the Los Angeles Angels this evening. In the outfield, they have Shuck, Trout, and Hamilton. And the infield, third to first, reads Cayaspo, Ibar, Harris, and Trumbo. And Iannetta getting his first start of the series behind the plate.
Last night, Hank Conger was behind the plate for the Angels. Tonight, it is the former Rocky Chris Iannetta. Well, I had about a page and a half worth of notes and stats on Tommy Hanson that are no longer good tonight.
Well, we'll figure it out. Buckner is going to have to give Mike Scioscia a few innings here this evening. Hasn't been stretched out in a while, but started by trade. But it will be a bullpen day for the Halos.
So here is Jackson. We'll see if the Tigers can take advantage of the Angels bullpen here tonight. AJ batting .307, was 1 for 3 last night, and he scored 2 more runs. 9-game hitting streak now for the Tigers leadoff man. Buckner's first pitch is in for a strike. Jackson 17 RBIs. Also walked a couple of times in last night's ball game. And that one missed the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
About 61% of the time, Buckner will feature a fastball that will touch 90 miles an hour. And a curveball about 24% of the time. And doesn't throw that many changeups.
2 balls, 1 strike. Buckner, born in Decatur, Georgia, lives in Locust Grove, California. Driven in the air to center. Trout going back. He is under it, and 1 gone. Here's Torrey Hunter. 3 out of 4 last night for Torrey, and that average now is back over 300. It's at 305.
Torrey likes the fact that Austin Jackson is back in that starting lineup because he was struggling a little bit there without Jackson, but since Jackson has been back, that batting average of Hunter has really perked up.
Well, Torrey's had a really good homestand, 12 for 29. So 414 average on this stand. Trying to get something going here with 1 out. And that's in for a strike. 1-1. Torrey spent the last 5 years of his career with the Angels. Sends a ground ball foul third base side.
He was told when he was approaching free agency that they did not want to spend any more money. They didn't have much money to spend, therefore they probably couldn't retain his services, so he signed with the Tigers, and they found $100 million for Josh Hamilton somewhere.
Here's the 1-2, and it's slapped back out of play. Kind of magically appeared, didn't it?
Yeah, didn't it though?
1-2 on Hunter, and Josh Hamilton has had, despite his outing last night, a rough start to 2013.
He likes hitting in this yard, though, for whatever reason.
That is fouled off as Hunter just got a piece there. 1-2 on Torrey. Here are those numbers on the homestand. 3 RBIs to go with that 414 average.
Lots of fastballs hitting behind Jackson, and of course you get really good pitches to hit because you're hitting in front of Cabrera.
Bouncing ball foul.
Last year Torrey hit in an ideal spot as well for the Angels with Mike Trout busting onto the scene in late April and going on to have a fantastic year. And Torrey batted second, hit 300 for the first time in his career. In the second half of the year, he was one of the best number 2 hitters in baseball.
Torrey finished up last year at .313 with 92 RBIs. His final year in Anaheim. Just off the corner, Buckner again tried to thread the needle but missed, and the count fills 3-2. Tigers have seen Buckner before when he was with Kansas City. It was back in '07. High fly ball deep into left field. That ball is hit well. It is up there and gone. Torrey Hunter is in his 4th of the season, and the former Halo has put one on the scoreboard down for the Tigers.
Torrey saw 8 pitches before getting the fastball right down the middle, about belt buckle high, and the little flip there with the bat told all of us that he got that ball in shucking left field, ran out of room.
Torrey, after the game last night, an ugly game that took over 4 hours, said you've got to have amnesia in this game. Turn the page, move on, and he has punctuated that with a home run here in the first inning tonight.
Yeah, nothing you could do about last night's contest. Just wasn't pretty.
Miguel Cabrera was 1 for 4 with a homer in that game. And he drives this one in the air to left. That ball is up. It has a chance, and it's gone. Back-to-back home runs off Billy Buckner. 2-0 Detroit.
Tigers have already gone back-to-back in homers once this year. They did it in Baltimore. They could do it again with Prince Fielder coming to the plate. Miguel appears to get himself another fastball that is up, and that hanging fastball not doing a whole lot for Buckner.
Cabrera this year in his first plate appearance is hitting .485. He's just gone back-to-back with Torrey Hunter. Here comes Prince Fielder.
Excuse me, that was a changeup that Cabrera hit out of the ballpark that was up in the strike zone at 81 miles an hour. And from Buckner.
And already this has the makings of a much better night for the Tigers this evening. Early 2-0 lead on homers by Hunter and Cabrera. And Alvarez says thank you very much. There's a drive into right field. That ball is hit well, but Hamilton will get back there to make the play.
It's always nice when you can give a rookie pitcher, in this case being Jose Alvarez, a little run support early in the game to settle him in.
And perhaps unsettle the opposing pitcher, who tonight is Billy Buckner, and got the emergency call with tightness in the forearm of Tommy Hanson, who was supposed to start tonight for the Angels. We'll try and piece this one together. Victor batting .227 this year. Was 1 for 5 last night. Martinez did have a couple of RBIs, so he's knocked in 40 now this year. Here's the 1-0. 1-1 on Martinez. Buckner last year pitched in both Pawtucket and Portland. Originally signed by the Kansas City Royals. Slapped back out of play. And here's a guy, Rad, that hasn't pitched in the major league since 2010 prior to this season. So kind of gives you an idea right now the state of the game in terms of pitching and how some guys can get really some good opportunities.
Well, the Angels, they have been searching for 5 consistent starters.
Slap to left field on a slice, and that's going to get down. Fair ball to the corner, to the wall. Victor is on his way to second, and the Tigers continue to pepper Buckner.
He just continues to leave every single thing that he is throwing up in the zone, and because of that, he's already trailing by 2 and in jeopardy of the Tigers scoring a 3rd run here in the first inning. A little hanging breaking ball that Victor just kind of waited on and didn't try to do much with it. Simply hit the ball where it was pitched.
So the Tigers already have 3 extra base hits. 5 batters into this game, and here's Johnny Peralta. 0 for 4 in last night's ball game. Johnny batting .320. Ball 1 outside.
And Mike Trout trying to get the attention of someone in the dugout who's moving him over toward left center field as we speak.
The sun is still giving the outfielders fits in this game. Shuck in left, Trout in center, battling the sun.
Looks like Shuck's trying to get away from that sun.
Yeah, he is trying to find just a good spot where he can see. Trout, no sunglasses. Foul tip into the glove.
That is an absolute no-no for an outfielder. If there is sun up there and you happen to lose a ball, it is tough to go into that dugout if you don't have those glasses on.
Here's the 2-1. Outside, 3 balls, 1 strike on Johnny Peralta. So Buckner already in some hot water. He's given up a couple of runs. He has thrown 27 pitches here in the first inning. Dirk's waiting on deck. Johnny waiting on a 3-1. Skies one in the air, deep into center field. Trout going back to the warning track to make the catch. Right in front of the wall. So the Tigers putting some good swings on the baseball. Back-to-back homers. Hunter, Cabrera, 2-0 Detroit.
This evening for the Tigers, and let's take a look at the rest of the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health System. Dirks, Jackson, Hunter in the outfield, Mickey, Peralta, Infante, and the Prince in the infield. And Alvarez, of course, is on the mound here this evening.
And he's facing Josh Hamilton, Alberto Callaspo, and Chris Iannetta here in the second. The Tigers have a 2-0 lead on a couple of home runs. Hamilton batting .214. Buckner roughed up in the first inning through 28 pitches. So he'll try and get it righted. But again, he pitched in the ballgame last night and the emergency starter tonight for the Angels. Here's the 1-1 to Hamilton, who waves and misses. On front of the off-speed pitch. Hamilton this year is batting just .139 against left-handed pitching. Swing and a miss. That number will go a little bit lower.
What are your Angels people telling you about Josh Hamilton?
Well, there comes a point, I think, even with guys as supremely talented as Hamilton, where your confidence gets affected. When you get into the month of July and you're still not able to do it, there's a confidence factor in there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, you know, Hamilton, when you look at the track record, seemingly should put up pretty good numbers by the season's end, but we're getting toward July, which has some folks concerned. Well, we know this. There's a lot of money invested in this guy, so.
They've invested a lot of money in their squad. Their payroll is about $140, so they're spending quite a bit of money this year.
Callaspo is batting .269, was 1 for 4 last night. A couple of runs scored. Here's how good of a night it was last night for the Angels. Every one of their starters collected at least 1 hit and 1 run scored. That does not happen very often. One of those nights for Tigers pitching last night. Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball left side. Diving stop Cabrera. And he throws him out. Nicely done. Terrific play by the big third baseman.
Couple of steps in the dive for Miguel, and he was able to get to his feet quickly. He made sure he had a good handle, good grip on the baseball, and showed off that real powerful arm that he possesses from third base.
2 outs now for Chris Iannetta. Right back out the middle. That'll get into center field.
Right through the glove.
2-out single. Will be the first hit of the ball game for the Angels. And now Brendan Harris. Harris is playing second base tonight in place of Howie Kendrick, who played the opener last evening. I beg your pardon, Ibar. Did they switch on me? Nope, I just got it wrong. Ibar is batting eighth. There's a ball down low. This is a really good lesson in not to trust the internet when you write down your lineups. Wait for the official sheet. When will I learn? Save that info on Harris because eventually he'll be up. Ibar drops down a bunt. It goes foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. 278 for Ibar. Couple of home runs and 25 RBIs. Alvarez had to deal with a couple of base runners in the first, but he got a double play from Mark Trumbo to end that inning. That's fouled off. 1-2 on Ibar. That's 30 now for Alvarez, 19 of which are strikes. And the 1-2 in the air, shallow right field. Here comes Hunter. It'll drop in, base hit. And so Ibar is aboard. And back-to-back hits now for the Angels. Tying runs are on. It'll bring up Brendan Harris. Told you he would eventually bat. Here he is. Harris, as I was saying, giving Howie Kendrick the night off. Yet when you look at the numbers, Harris is 1 for 31 against lefties this year.
Howie Kendrick has played every single game the Angels have played this year. He and Trumbo and Trout have played 77 games.
And a bouncing ball to second should get him out of the inning. Harris is out, and so are the Angels. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Jeep, visit Jeep.com to learn more. And by Hellman's Mayo, bring out the best. Brian Pena taking some time with the fans before the game today, signing some autographs. What a great attitude Pena has. Fun to be around at the ballpark.
Always smiling.
I've got a good word to describe Pena.
What would that be?
Effervescent.
Oh, you busted out an effervescent.
I did. We don't have the HD anymore to bring out the big words, so. We are in HD, though. Here's Andy Dirks. Dirks Infante, and then the effervescent Brian Pena. Tigers ahead 2-0. Buckner back to work after chucking 28 pitches in that first inning. Andy's hit safely in 5 straight. Watches one bend outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Hitters are going to have to be patient, just as Hunter, Miggy, and Victor were. And make him get something up in the strike zone.
Popped up left side, shallow left field, and who wants it? Look out, collision. And it's the shortstop Ibar who holds on. The left fielder Shuck collided with him, and Ibar does not seem very happy right now.
Well, Ibar has a lot of range, and Shuck should know the range that Ibar has. But if you're Shuck, give him the benefit of the doubt because he's battling the sun. He's got those glasses on, so he's afraid to take his eye off the ball. So he never even saw the hands waving of Ibar. Ibar clearly waving, telling Shuck, I got this ball. I'm going to catch this. And then all of a sudden, Shuck refuses to take his eye off the ball. He's looking up, never sees him.
And they're fortunate that Ibar was able to hold on. He lost his shoe, but that's the worst that happened on that play. Just a little bit upset.
Oh, my goodness.
Man, you knocked my shoe off, dude. Ah, well. Omar Infante bats. Mike Scioscia apparently was saying he was calling it. A little pop-up that goes foul and just out of the reach of Trumbo. Omar batting .299. Had a double in last night's ball game. Pretty good homestand for Infante. 10 hits on this homestand. Here's the 0-1. That bends in for a strike. 0-2 on Infante. Driven toward left center field. Trout will reach and make the catch at the warning track.
He's got mad skills in center field.
Well, you'll see him one more time here at Comerica Park tomorrow. You can join us again tomorrow. The Tigers wrapping up their series with the Angels. Coverage begins at noon with Tigers Live. Matinee here at the ballpark. Tigers Halos tomorrow at noon right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Mr. Pfister will be on the hill for the Detroit Tigers. Jared Weaver for the Angels. There's a strike called on Brian Pena.
It's going to be interesting to see which Jared Weaver shows up here tomorrow. And I told you in his last start, he didn't throw 100 pitches. Close to 100, but the majority of his pitches were under 88 miles an hour. He was not throwing very hard in his last outing.
Well, he's lost each of his last 3 starts. Had that broken arm, which put him on the DL. And there's a base hit for Pena. 2-out single. And Brian is aboard. That'll bring up Jackson. Fly out to center field back in the first for Jackson. .305 batting average. Jackson this year is doing what he is paid to do, and that's get on base, score runs. 45 runs scored in 44 games this year. Of course, with the guys hitting behind him, all he has to do is get on. He's almost assured of scoring 100 runs this year. Even though he missed a month. Pena not a threat to run. And a strike called. 1-1 on Jackson. Ground ball foul, third base side.
Ten games Jackson has played since coming off the disabled list. 17 for 38. That's good for a 447 batting average, and he's touched home plate 12 times. And we've already told you the impact that he's had on the number 2 hitter, Torrey Hunter.
Jackson had a couple of walks, a couple of runs scored in the opening game of the series last night. Hoping to extend the 9-game hitting streak tonight. Ground ball to short. That is straight at Ibar, and they'll get the force to the tie of the side. Nothing doing for the Tigers. Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire. Arby's. Try Arby's new Market Fresh Turkey Bacon Florentine Sandwich. Arby's, slicing up freshness. And by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. Nice night for ball here at the ballpark. The Tigers off to a nice start. Got a couple of homers in the first. And the Angels coming up here in the top of the third. 2 runs, 4 hits. Detroit, no runs, 2 hits for the Halos. Shuck flied out his first time up. Takes ball 1 from Alvarez. .299 batting average for J.B. Shuck, who is a 3-time All-Star in the minor leagues. Came up the Houston system and was signed as a minor league free agent by the Angels. Had a little bit of time with Houston. Here's the 2-0. Outside, 3-0. Alvarez pitching out a little bit of trouble in each of the first 2 innings. Got a double play ball in the first and then gave up a couple of hits in the second, but no damage. Mike Trout waiting on deck. Fouled straight back, 3-2. Well, the Bernstein advantage brings you the scouting report on J.B. Shuck. At the Bernstein advantage, we go to bat for you. And when you look at the highest averages among American League rookies, there is J.B. Shuck. .299. And the 3-2. Popped up, foul ground. Cabrera will run out of room. Souvenir. Alvarez down to the minor leagues, made 13 starts at Toledo, had a 2.78 ERA. Another pop-up, this one behind home plate, back out of play. And as typically is the case with Jim Leland and the Tigers, when there is help needed with the big club, it's basically who's pitching the best down at AAA, not who is a #1 pick or how much money you guys making. Who is pitching the best? Here's a drive down the right field line. Fair ball. It's going to go to the corner. Shuck is motoring to second, maybe 3. Let's see. He's going to hold up. It's a leadoff double for Shuck. Angels have their 3rd hit.
And Shuck got himself an 89-mile-per-hour fastball that was inside that he turned on. And he was thinking 2 out of the batter's box and really was thinking 3. And made the decision by himself that he was not going to entertain the thought of trying to get a triple. He was not relying on his third base coach, Dino Ebel.
A pretty good at bat there. An 8-pitch at bat resulting in a double.
And Alvarez almost came back to get him after falling behind Shuck. 3 balls, no strikes.
Trout reaching on an air by Cabrera in the first. Ball high and away, 1-1. The one thing Alvarez didn't do a whole lot of right down the minor leagues is hurt himself with walks. He had 5 strikeouts per walk. That was his ratio in the minors. And only 16 base on balls in 81 innings.
He's done very nice in that regard since coming up here. Only 3 walks and 2+ starts in the big leagues. And it's not easy to go against that Boston Red Sox team and not walk a whole lot of people.
That is true. And he also faced a pretty good Cleveland offense, his first big league start this year.
And here's where he likes to throw changeups in fastball counts.
Driven toward left field. Dirks is on the run, still going back. He looks up, and that ball is going to get out.
He did throw a changeup there, and the young phenom Michael Trout absolutely killed that.
That ball got out in a hurry, and Trout has just hit his 13th. We are tied at 2.
He might just be the most talented player in the big leagues. There's nothing that he could do. It's a changeup. It appeared that Trout was looking for that changeup. Real nice weight transfer and lightning quick hands. That thing got out of here in a hurry.
I thought that thing was going off the wall, and it just kept going. And it was high enough to get out. And Trout now has 50 RBIs this year.
No such thing as a sophomore slump this year for Trout.
Here is Albert Pujols, who was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Leadoff double and a homer, and the Angels have tied this game. The Tigers had a pair of home runs in the first.
Albert Pujols, one of those guys that's really quiet with his lower half, doesn't take a big stride, and a real good balance when starting his swing. And he's kind of spread out, which makes sure that his balance is always good. You can see that Albert is telling himself that he dropped his back shoulder on that last swing on that pitch that he just got from Alvarez.
Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Albert right now has 488 home runs, and that is good for 28th all time. The next guy on the list is Lou Gehrig.
That home run by Mike Trout left his bat at 104 miles an hour.
Wow. His average on balls that he puts in play is a little over 81 miles an hour. And that thing was scalded. 2-2 on Pujols. Fouled back out of play. Albert in his days with the Cardinals He spent 11 seasons in St. Louis before coming over to the Angels last year, but he averaged 40 home runs a season for the Cardinals. 40, that was his average. He rolls that one foul. And the Cardinals decided it was not worth the money, and maybe more so the amount of years that Pujols would get elsewhere, to retain him, and they've done just fine without him. Again, the 2-2 off the plate, 3-2. Pujols also averaged 121 RBIs per season in a Cardinals uniform. In the air, center field, not deep at all. Jackson cruising over. And that is the first out of the inning. One away here in the third. To the studio we go for a game break. Here's Mickey York. Those swinging A's. Thanks, Mick. Oakland came in dead even with the Rangers out in the West. Angels chasing both of those teams. There's a bouncer right back in the mound. Alvarez will handle it. And Trumbo is retired. 2 gone.
That Rangers team playing a little bit better baseball than they were playing when their leadoff hitter, Ian Kinsler, was on the disabled list. He's the one that jumpstarts their engine. Since he's come back, they have played decent baseball from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, they fell behind a couple of games in the standings to the Athletics, but they're back on top now. Here's Hamilton. Struck out of the second. It looks at a breaking ball away. Oakland right now, for the time being, a half-game lead over the Rangers. Angels 10.5 out. Ground ball back up the middle. Ooh, it gets by Infante. It hopped right by him. Two-out base runner.
Omar had Josh Hamilton playing him to pull, and took about 5-6 steps to his right. Looked like he was going to make that play, and the ball just jumped over his glove.
There's Callaspo. Ball 1 missing outside. If you're the Angels right now and you're 10.5 back and you know you have a pretty good offensive team, what are you trying to get accomplished before the All-Star break? In terms of how many games you want to be behind?
Well, you got to try to get to 500 as close as possible. And nothing really happens until you get close to 500. No one's going to take you seriously. And then once you get to 500, then you can start to think about maybe trying to catch Oakland, trying to catch Texas.
They came in 9 under 500. 2-0 is ripped foul, third base side, 2-1.
And it is doable. Toronto Blue Jays won 11 games in a row in the American League East to get themselves back into the race in that division.
Two balls, 1 strike on Alberto Callaspo. Pulled on the ground to short. And Johnny will go to second for the Force, ending the inning. But it's a good inning. Mike Trout with a 2-run shot for the Halos. Comerica Park. Enjoy 8 Tigers games of your choice for as little as $26 a game with the new Tigers Summer 8-pack. For more information, or if you'd like to order, 313-471-2255 is the phone number, or visit tigers.com/summer8. Great night tonight here at the ballpark. Warm evening, nothing but sunshine here at the yard tonight. Last night it was raining for about half the game, if not more. Is that cotton candy?
What color is it?
Looks like pink. Little fella's about to dive into that. It is pink. Your favorite color. Here's the ball low and away to Torrey Hunter. Torrey, then Cabrera, then Fielder here in the bottom of the third. Look like the Tigers might be bouncing Mr. Buckner early from this game. They got a couple of home runs against him in the first, but he has settled in a little bit. High pop up, shallow right field. This one might be trouble, and it's going to drop in right in front of Hamilton. Torrey running all the way will get to second with a bloop 2-base hit. Replace your divots. That's a deep divot right there.
As soon as the ball went up, you knew it was going to be trouble for not only Hamilton, but for Trumbo and also Harris, who's getting the start here at second base. And Torrey Hunter hustling out of that batter's box, able to get himself a double.
Hamilton's knee jammed into the turf, and he's doing some landscape work out there. Heather Nabosny appreciates that. 20th double of the year for Torrey Hunter. Now Cabrera. Driven in the air to center. Trout has a beat on this one. Circles under it. Hunter tagging. He's coming to third base. The throw is going to be long. He overshoots Callaspo.
That's one thing that Mike Trout does not do well, and Torrey Hunter knows that because he played right field last year for the Angels and watched him try to throw base runners out all season long. It's not very shallow. There are some center fielders that could throw Torrey out from that distance, but not Mike Trout. Torrey and Mike Trout having a little fun with one another.
Buckner, a nice job of backing up that throw. Teacher and the pupil. Iannetta able to block it, save the run. Runner at third, 1 out. Prince Fielder hit a fly ball to right field his first time up. 59 RBIs for Prince, and that is good for 4th in the American League. Pulls that one to right field. That'll get down. RBI hit. Prince comes through and gives the Tigers the lead again, 3-2.
That's what you got to do to Buckner. You got to make him get the ball up in the zone. He's not going to throw it by you. And that's a little change up on his arm side, fading away from Prince. Prince able to reach out and literally almost with one hand, that left hand, that top hand, coming off the bat at contact. And it gets a single and drives in his 60th run of the year.
An RBI from the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th hitters in the lineup tonight for the Tigers. Here's Victor Martinez. Ball 1 to Victor. Victor went the other way with a double back in the first inning. And batting .229 now. It had been a struggle up until that at bat for Martinez. He was just 2 for 18 against Angels pitching this year. Swing and a miss. He tuned in a little bit tardy tonight. Tommy Hanson was to make the start for the Angels, but some tightness in his forearm, and so he was a really late scratch. And Billy Buckner filling in out of the bullpen. Buckner in his 2nd stint with the Angels this year. Tap foul. 1-2 on Martinez.
You know, we were talking about Josh Hamilton and some of his struggles this year, and would he rebound to get back to some of the numbers he's put up in the past? Victor Martinez is in that same conversation, batting .229 right now, a .300 career hitter. You would think that his batting average has to get up to .280, .290 before the year's over.
Well, if it does, that means a pretty good second half, and that means the Tigers offense would be humming along. So that's the hope. Well, for as much as Victor has struggled this year, he is still at this point knocked in 40 runs. That's 50 pitches now for Buckner.
Buckner threw 11 pitches last night. He pitched in relief for the Halos.
Another foul at home plate. Martinez on pace for 85 RBIs, despite the .229 average. Peralta waiting on deck. Mike Butcher, Mike Scioscia, the brain trust for the Angels, trying to see how long Buckner can stay out there. The 1-2 is on the ground to second. Backhanded play by Harris. There's one. There's two. Double play goes 4-6-3 to win the inning.
Back-to-back jacks by Hunter and also Miguel Cabrera on fastballs and changeups up in the zone thrown by Buckner in the third inning. However, it was Mike Trout hitting his 13th homer of the season. He sat on a 2-1 changeup and got it and didn't miss it. And then 1/2 inning later, Prince Fielder singles in the right field to drive in the third run of the after the evening for Detroit.
And that's where we stand, 3-2 as we go to the top of the fourth. It's Chris Iannetta to lead it off. Iannetta takes a ball outside. 2-0 the count.
We talked about Alvarez and the fact that in that very first inning, he kind of tipped his hand to the Angels throwing so many changeups and fastball counts. No doubt in my mind that's exactly what Trout did in that third inning. He sat on one and got it and drilled it.
His 13th home run of the year to make it 2-2 at that point. Meanwhile, Alvarez now has gone 3-0 on Iannetta, who singled back in the second, 1 for 1. He's taking it at the knees for a strike.
And something I've noticed here that Alvarez not doing that he did in his first couple of games. He pitched inside a little bit more aggressively.
And you really need to do that when your fastball is only 88, 89 miles an hour. Can't be afraid to go in there.
Missed it high and a leadoff walk here in the fourth. So a hit batter and a walk in this game now for Jose. We'll bring up Eric Ibar. Ibar had a single. That was back in the second. 11 multi-hit games in the month of June for Ibar. And a strike called 0-1. Ibar in a lot of ways symbolizes the type of player that Mike Scioscia has had a lot of success with over the years. A guy that can bunt, can run really well. 354 over his last 11 games. And a ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. We've had little guys over the years like Ibar and his Turris that would stir it up. A couple of boppers in the middle of the lineup. They certainly have some punch in the middle of their lineup this year with Pujols, Trumbo, Hamilton when he's going, Trout.
David Eckstein was a pretty good shortstop for the Angels as well when he was playing there.
It's another good call. 2-1. Three to 2. Tigers have the lead, but the Angels have the leadoff man on here in the fourth. That's low, and that'll run the count now to 3 balls, 1 strike. Brendan Harris waiting on deck. Ibar now in his 8th season in an Angels uniform. Here's the 3-1. Bouncing ball to short. This might be 2. Peralta, Infante. No, he's safe at first base. Ibar beat it out.
Nice feed here by Peralta. Omar throws from a sidearm angle. Ibar's got good speed. Gets that left foot on the bag. And before the ball gets in Prince's glove. Good call there by Paul Nart, first base umpire.
Would have been the second double play turn tonight by the Tigers, but no such luck. Here's Brendan Harris. Strike 1 on Harris. He grounded out his first time up. And he is the definition of a utility man. He's played first, second, third, short, and left this year for the Angels. Ibar 3 steals this season. Ball outside, 1-1. Alvarez has had at least 1 base runner in every inning so far. An error and a hit batter in the first, couple of singles in the second. Trout homered in the third, a 2-run shot. Strike called. 1-2.
Might as well double up with that fastball inside. Harris not looking for it. You might get strike 3 called. Instead, they're going to go fastball away.
Alvarez hit 74 pitches here in the 4th inning. Tigers have out-hit the Angels in this one 6-5. Here's the 1-2. Got him, strike 3. Harris caught looking.
It's a nice job here by Alvarez. He got strike 2 with a good fastball inside. Then he went upstairs with a fastball that Harris fouled off and went right back in there with an 89 mile per hour heater that Harris thought was inside, but it got plenty of plate.
J.B. Shuck has had himself a series. 4 hits already in the series. Double and a run scored tonight. Ball one. And Shuck is now 8 for his last 14. He's hit safely in his last 4.
Alvarez does not have a good pickoff move. And therefore, that's the first time he's thrown over to first base. A lot of times, if you're a left-hander, you do yourself a favor by not showing the other team your move if you don't have a good one.
1 ball, 1 strike. Back in there standing up. Shuck went to high school in a small town in Ohio, Galion, Ohio, and he eventually went to play college ball at Ohio State University. One and the runner goes. Here comes Pena's throw, bouncing in, tag, not in time. Stolen base number 4 for Ibar.
Decent throw by Pena, and we told you that by him throwing over a couple of times, that would be Alvarez. Ibar knew exactly when he was going home, got a decent jump, and got that left hand in there before Johnny Peralta could apply the tag.
So now the tying run in scoring position, 2-1 the count on J.B. Shuck. Little pop up into left field, and Dirks will run it down. Inning is over. Nothing comes of Ibar getting to second base. Tonight since 1940, who are the 3 players to score 200 or more runs prior to their 250th career game? Since 40, there have been 3 players to do it. Can you name them? 200 runs scored prior to their 250th game? Pretty good accomplishment right there. Cabrera. Is he on that list? We'll find out. Here come the Tigers now. It'll be Peralta as we play in the bottom of the 4th. Tigers up by a run, 3-2. Ball 1 for Buckner. I don't know what the Angels expected tonight out of Buckner. The emergency starter who pitched in the ball game last night. Made 1 start earlier this year, but so far they've gotten 54 pitches out of him.
Yeah, Tommy Hansen had to be scratched with some stiffness in his forearm. And Buckner didn't get the news until about 15 minutes prior to game time.
swing and a miss. 2-1. Mike Butcher keeping count of how many pitches that Buckner is throwing. The pitching coach for Mike Scioscia. Bouncing ball to third, foul just outside of the bag. And he's going to get on the phone now and get in touch with the bullpen. Two and two. Fouled away. Johnny has hit over 300 each of the last 2 months. The month of May was awfully good, 362. He came in at 303 in the month of June. That ball sails up and in, 3-2. By and large, it has been a very consistent year for Peralta. This year is hitting 351 at home. And he's got himself a walk. The leadoff man is on for the second straight frame. Hey, you can vote for your Tigers McDonald's Player of the Game. Is presented by the new Detroit Tigers M&M McFlurry, only at McDonald's. Using your cell phone, text Tigers, then a space, and the player's uniform number to 37338, or you can vote online at foxsportsdetroit.com. Dane De La Rosa warming up. Here's Andy Dirks. Popped up back in the second. And Buckner misses outside, 1-0.
You always have to be careful when Mike Scioscia is managing against your club. When he thinks a runner might be in motion, he loves to pitch out. He pitches out as much as any manager in the game. And Mike also handles the running game. Former catcher, all-star catcher, and was a real good big league catcher.
Ball high, now it's 2-0.
He has spent most of his time with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and just because he's not really moving there doesn't mean that he's not given a sign. Players nowadays and managers are so crafty at the opposing team stealing signs. It could be something as him folding his hands or him taking his hands away from being folded and just holding his hand as to the sign that he wants to give to the catcher as to what he wants the pitcher to do with the baseball. Throw over, pitch out.
Unfolded now. Who knows? Maybe that is a sign. You mean other teams steal signs?
No, they do.
Here's the 2-0, and it's grounded foul.
Best I'd ever seen at it, though. Roger Craig, a former pitching coach of the Detroit Tigers and manager of the San Francisco Giants, and one of the nicest, gentlest men you'll ever meet. Roger Craig could steal some signs with the best of them. He would tell Sparky Anderson after about 2 innings, "I got him, Sparky."
Really?
Didn't take him long.
Runner goes on 2-1. It's tapped foul.
Andy hurt himself on that swing.
He just dropped the bat. Ball came up to bite him.
Yeah, maybe just a little embarrassed, maybe.
Off the dirt and on the bill of the helmet. 2-2 on Dirks. Tigers have a man on here in the fourth. They lead 3-2. Peralta was on the run. He's holding this time, and it's fouled back out of play.
And bottom of the ninth, the last night when Andy Dirks was up, there was lightning all over the place.
I am stunned that this field took as much water as it did, as well as it did. I mean, it was raining for most of the game last night. There's a little tapper back toward the mound. And the throw is going to be late. Infield hit for Dirks, who legs it out. Tigers are in business now here in the fourth. Here's Mike Scioscia.
And nothing that Buckner could do here. Andy Dirks hustling down the line by the time he picked it up. Andy Dirks is about 3-4 steps past that first base bag. Picking him up, putting him down.
It's going to be it for Mr. Buckner. He will depart. And we have a wall-side windows pitching change. They are threatening as well, and we remind you that this July baseball's greatest stars gather for the biggest event of the summer. It's the Midsummer Classic. It returns to New York with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. The 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game live from New York, July 16th, and it's only on Fox. So Mike Scioscia gets 3+ innings out of Buckner tonight. He'll turn the baseball over now to Dane De La Rosa.
And Dane's got a big arm. His fastball will get up to 95 miles an hour. He's got some run to it. It'll also cut the fastball. He also features a curveball and an occasional changeup.
He'll inherit a couple of base runners.
8 sacrifice bunts for Omar Infante last year. 4 for Miami, 4 here for the Tigers. If he bunts here, it will be his first of the season.
No sign of it there. Ball 1 missing outside. Omar in the ball game with a fly out. Now the 1-0 pitch. High fly ball, shallow right center field. Trout, Hamilton will catch it, and 1 gone. So the runners will hold. First out of the inning here is Pena now. Ryan is single back in the second. In there for strike 1. 7 Tigers hits in this game, 5 for the Angels. We're in the 4th inning. Pena had a single back in the second. Tigers trying to add to their 1-run lead. And the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1 the count. As a hitter, when you come into a ball game and you're geared up for a guy like Hansen, and all of a sudden he doesn't come out to take the mound, and it's a bullpen day for the other team, how does that affect you as an opposing hitter, if at all?
Well, in many ways, you have your best days when you don't know a whole lot about the guy that's out there starting, to be perfectly honest with you.
Here's the 2-1, and it's low, 3-1.
Because most guys didn't have time to prepare for Buckner because they had watched video of Hansen all afternoon long. And they were looking forward to facing Hansen, too, because in only one start this year has Hansen not given up a run, and that was a start against the Tigers out west, where he pitched in traffic all night long, and they let him off the hook.
Ground ball, foul. Just outside of the bag at first base. It was close, 3-2. The Tigers have responded for 3 runs on 7 hits. They opened it up with a bang in the first. Back-to-back homers by Hunter and Cabrera off Billy Buckner, who made the emergency start tonight. Hansen with a forearm problem. Alvarez, meanwhile, has surrendered 2 runs on 5 hits. There go the runners, and a ground ball hit to the right side. Harris has it. Pena's out. Runners advance. 2 gone. So De La Rosa now 1 hitter away from pitching out of this jam. He inherited the walk by Peralta, the infield single by Dirks. Jackson 0 for 2, fly ball and a ground out. De La Rosa came into this game with an 0.77 ERA on the road this year. Trying to strand 2 runners in this inning. Ball 1. High and outside. That fastball from De La Rosa has been 94 to 96.
He's a big boy. 6 feet 7 inches, 245 out of Torrance, California, which means he throws straight downhill. Jackson should get a good fastball to hit here.
Strike called. Fastball in the outside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike. Buckner hoping that De La Rosa can strand these 2 runners. He did his best tonight, allowing RBIs to Hunter, Cabrera, and Fielder. Swing and a miss. 2-2 on Jackson.
That was 96 with some cutting action to it. You'll see a lot of really good hitters swing right through this pitch.
And the 2-2 outside, run it full now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jackson 5 for 18 with 2 outs and men in scoring position this year. The crowd getting behind him now.
Austin Jackson's had a real good look at all 5 of those fastballs that De La Rosa has featured. Last one was 97. Should have him timed pretty good.
Low ball 4. That loads him up, and it brings up Hunter. So now the Tigers a base hit away from breaking this open a little bit.
Here's the first inning for the Tigers. It was Torrey Hunter. Hit a big fly to left field. Miguel also played long ball in the first inning.
Homer and a double for Torrey, and now a sticky spot here for Dane De La Rosa. Mike Butcher having a nice long chat with De La Rosa. He'll be chased now by Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire. Tigers in search of a big 2-out hit as we play here in the fourth.
We were talking about Torrey Hunter and just how well he does hitting behind Austin Jackson. When Jackson's on base, Torrey hitting .406. 13 hits the opposite way.
Hunter has 10 grand slams in his career. Already homered in this game. And it's down the middle of strike at 95 miles an hour. Peralta with a walk. Dirks an infield single. Jackson with a walk. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. 97 up at the letters. 0-2. Swing and a miss to strike him out on 98 miles an hour from Dane De La Rosa. And the Tigers leave him loaded. By White House Down in theaters June 28th. Tight one at the ballpark tonight. Tigers lead it by a run, 3-2 over the Angels. 3 runs, 7 hits Detroit. 2 runs, 5 hits for Los Angeles. And Jose Alvarez back to the hill. He's facing Trout, Pujols, Trumbo in the top of inning number 5 here in the Motor City. And the first pitch in for a strike on Mike Trout, who hit a 2-run homer in his last at bat.
You might want to throw all fastballs to Trout here in this situation. He sat on a 2-1 changeup his last time up, and he homered to left.
Here's the 0-1. High fly ball, right center field. Hunter going back, Jackson going back. Torrey will run it down. Hit that one to the warning track, deepest part of the ballpark. One gone. We'll bring up Albert Pujols, who has a fly ball, and he's also been hit by a pitch. Albert 2 for 7 in the series. One ball, no strikes on Pujols, batting in the 3 spot of the lineup for Mike Scioscia. So far this year, 13 home runs. Ball high, 2 balls, no strikes. Alvarez had 84 strikeouts in 81 innings down at AAA. Had a 7 strikeout game his first start against the Indians. He slings that one home for a strike, 2-1. Whistle foul back out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Pujols. Albert, in 10 of his 11 seasons with the Angels, or I should say with the Cardinals, knocked in 100 runs. The only year that he didn't, he knocked in 99, so he was right on the doorstep that season as well. Check swing low. They want the appeal but will not get it. Angel Hernandez said, "I saw it." 3-2.
Let's see if Alvarez has enough guts and to challenge Pujols with a fastball inside. I'm going breaking ball here. Get it down.
Swing and a miss. 2 gone.
We're going to make that our bell tire pitch by pitch. Alvarez fell behind Pujols. 2 balls and no strikes. He came back with a really good breaking ball to get strike 1. And now it's just a matter of doing what he wants to do. Fastball up, change up down, finishes him off with a real good breaking ball.
Albert now is 0 for 2. Here's Trumbo. He's also 0 for 2. Missed the outer edge, 1-0. Trumbo back in 2011 finished 2nd in the Rookie of the Year voting to Jeremy Hellickson of the Rays. Hit 29 home runs his rookie campaign. He is a Southern California kid, went to Villa Park High School and was going to go to USC. Had a scholarship to play at USC, but decided to sign professionally.
The Trojans.
1 ball, 1 strike. Lifted in the air, center field. Should be an easy 1-2-3 inning, and it is, as it nestles into the left of Jackson. Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire. Ballpark, timeout for the Farmers Insurance report card. Most RBIs prior to the All-Star break in the history of your Detroit Tigers. Well, Hank Greenberg back in 35 knocked in 103.
Is that a lot?
In terms of baseball numbers, that's a lot. And Miggy's on that list. Greenberg has a statue here. Here's Cabrera. Bouncer back up the middle. He's going to find a hole, base hit.
He's also going to have his own statue right here at Comerica Park when he finally shuts it down.
It's his second hit tonight to go this homer. And Cabrera now has hit safely in 11 straight. Here's Prince Fielder.
Miggy still has a little work to do if he's going to get those 20 RBIs in the month of June, which he has done 9 consecutive months, dating back to last year. 295 or better average and 20 RBIs.
Well, he is 3 away. So, I mean, it's possible for him to do it before the night's over. Fielder singled in a run in the 3rd. 1 for 2. Pulled foul and sharply down the first base line. Six hits on the homestand for Fielder. Right now 12 home runs. And Prince is 4th in the American League in RBIs. And the 0-2. De La Rosa has come out of the Angels pen and he is throwing cheese.
The majority of the pitches that he has thrown have been fastballs 95 to 97 miles an hour.
It appears to be Pepper Jack tonight. And the 1-2. 95 that just missed. 2-2 the count. 11 of his 22 have been 95 and above. Bouncer right back to the mound. There's one, and plenty of time with the relay for a double play. 1-6-3, 2 gone.
Hard shot off the bat, Prince Fielder, and by the time De La Rosa got it in his hand, he knew he had plenty of time to lob the ball to the shortstop, Ibar, and Ibar obviously able to turn it over.
So the bases are empty now. And Tigers hit into a couple of double plays in the last 3 innings. Martinez hit into the other one.
That's the 12th ground ball that Prince has hit into this year. Martinez leads the club in that department with 13.
Victor has a double and a double play tonight.
I guess that's really no big secret when you talk about Prince and Miggy and Martinez. They're going to hit into their fair share of double plays.
It's all part of the package, but they're going to drive in their share of runs.
No doubt.
So you really don't concern yourself too much with it. It's just the way it is. 0-2. Tigers trying to get another home win here. Would be their 27th. Right now they are tied for the most home wins in the major leagues with Cincinnati. Here's the 0-2. High fly ball, medium depth to center field, actually shallow depth, and it's caught there by Trout, inning over. On the way to the 6th we go. who were the 3 players to score 200 or more runs prior to their 250th career game? And the answer is Ted Williams, Mike Trout, and Barney McCoskey. Those are the 3. Mike Trout, 249 games. And Barney McCoskey went to Detroit Southwestern High School here in the Motor City. Did he? He did. Josh Hamilton leading things off. Hamilton, Callaspo, Iannetta. One ball, one strike. Tigers have 8 hits. Angels have 5 and a ball low and away. 2-1 on Hamilton. There is activity in the Detroit bullpen. Luke Pekonen.
Tigers middle relief have been stretched out and stressed out in this homestand, with their starters not going very deep in games. And guys like Pekonen and Downs, they've been used a lot.
That's why it'd be nice to get Alvarez through 6 in this game. And he's fallen behind 3-2 on Hamilton.
Apparently Downs not good to go here tonight. He's sitting in the dugout.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. That Downs, Scott Downs, is good to go. He's warming up. There's a chopper to second, and Infante throws out Hamilton. 1 gone in the 6th. To Mickey York we go for a game break. Mick. Thank you, Mick. Here in the 6th inning, it's 3-2 Tigers. Callaspo stands in. Strike 1. Callaspo is 0 for 2. Had a hit taken away in a diving play by third baseman Miguel Cabrera back in the 2nd. Off the end of the bat, that'll go foul. So quickly 0-2 on Callaspo. Began his career with the Diamondbacks, then spent some time with Kansas City. He's always really hit Tigers pitching pretty well. He's over 300 career against Detroit. Alvarez waiting with the 0-2. And here it is. High, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Callaspo right now a 10-game hitting streak. Popped him up behind home. Pena discards the mask and will not have room. Here's the streak for Callaspo, 421 in the 10-gamer. Meanwhile, 100 pitches thrown by Jose Alvarez. In the air to center. Right at Jackson. AJ is under it. 2 up, 2 down. That's 8 straight retired by Alvarez. Hey, the Tigers conclude this series with the Angels tomorrow. 1:08 start. Don't forget, day baseball here. Tickets on sale. You can still get them. 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
You all packed?
You know, I started this morning because I knew it would be an all-day adventure.
10-gamer. It's a long one.
It is a long one indeed. The suitcase is busting at the seams. Here's Iannetta. Swing and a miss.
In case you're wondering how many pitches, well, the most pitches that Alvarez has thrown in a game this season, he threw 110 in the month of May against the Syracuse Chiefs. Pitched 6 2/3 that evening. He's closing in on that.
The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, that was number 103. And the skipper would have to be really happy if he got 6 out of Alvarez and 2 runs.
Quality start.
Indeed. He got 6 out of Alvarez in his first start against the Indians, and he gave up just 1 run. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Now Chris Iannetta. Single and a walk in this game. Ibar waiting on deck. Rolled foul. And again, the 2-2. Checked it. They want the appeal, and they're going to get the appeal, and he didn't go. So it's full 3-2.
Good call there. Easy call for Paul Nartz.
Fouled away. I suppose it doesn't hurt to ask, though. Jeff Jones on the phone to the bullpen, where Drew Smiley has joined Luke Picona. What a weapon Smiley has been this year. Multi-inning weapon. Soft line drive to center, going to drop, base hit. So for the 3rd time tonight, Iannetta is on base. 2-out single, which brings the streak of 8 straight retired to an end. And that is the 6th overall hit for the Angels. Here's Eric Ibar. And now Jeff Jones coming out as well to halt the proceedings. So they will chat about it as Ibar gets set to step in. And by the way, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. It is brought to you by Miller Lite.
Not a lot of strategy being talked about right here with Jones and Miggy and Alvarez and Pena. And Jones is simply buying a little bit more time for Drew Smiley, who did not get up at the same time that Picona did. And if Jim makes a move here, more than likely it's going to be Smiley. He's ready now. He just gave the nod to Mike Rojas.
Rojas relaying the information. So with 2 outs, tying runners aboard, here is Eric Ibar. And he skies one in the air to left field, hit deep. Dirk's backing up, track, wall, and gone.
3rd home run of the year for Eric Ibar. You gotta be kidding me.
A 2-out, 2-run shot by Ibar from the number 8 slot in the lineup, and the Angels have the lead. One batter too late. As the skipper comes walking out.
Just a little lazy breaking ball that Ibar knew was gone as soon as he hit it. And he doesn't hit very many.
2nd home run of the night for the Angels. This one comes with 2 outs in the 6th. They tried to get Alvarez through 6 innings, but it's another Wallside Windows pitching change. is Jose Alvarez, and it puts the Tigers behind 4-3, and Alvarez still bumming about it. 5 2/3, 4 runs, 7 hits. He walked 1, struck out 3. And he'll give way now to Drew Smyly.
Smyly has been one of the best relievers in the game of baseball this year. 3-0 record. Outstanding earned run average at 175, striking out a bunch of guys and not walking very many.
A couple of 2-run shots tonight for the Angels, one by Trout, one by Ibar. They lead now 4-3. It is their first lead of the night. Harris 0 for 2. Well, Smyly called on now to get the final out of this inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Two homers tonight for each side. Swing and a miss. That didn't take long. Smyly comes on, whiffs Harris, inning over. However, the 2-run shot by Ibar gives the Angels the lead. The Angels, the 4-3 lead now as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning here at the ballpark, and we remind you to see the Tigers take on the White Sox July 9th and 10th. Take advantage of the Tigers Summer Fun Pack. Get a ticket, food voucher, and a Tigers t-shirt, only $35. Visit tigers.com/fun to order. So the Tigers have some work to do now. They will do it against a new pitcher. Scott Downs has checked in for the Halos.
And Downs has not been scored upon in his last 18 outings. He is locked down in that bullpen for the Halos. 1-2 record in 32 games this year. He has 14 holds, a sub-2 earned run average. He doesn't throw very hard. Fastball 86 to 89 miles an hour, but he gets lots of ground balls, and he also features a curveball. No slider, no changeup.
37 years old. Scott Downs, been around a while. He'll face Peralta, Dirks, and Fonte in a 1-run game. 4 homers in this game, 2 for each team. And Johnny lines one to left on the first pitch in the bottom of the 6th.
Good scouting report. And Johnny giving on Downs. About 70% of the pitches that he throws are fastballs, and tries to get ahead of you with fastballs up in the zone. Johnny was waiting on him.
The Tigers put another hit on the board, and now they will send up Andy Dirks.
And it could be a bunting situation for Dirks against the left-hander.
Dirks had what amounted to be a swinging bunt, an infield hit his last time up. No sign of it here, and he looks at ball 1.
Left-handers hitting 179 this year against Downs. And righties hitting close to 300 against him.
Peralta, the tying run is on here in the bottom of the 6th. Downs in 29 career games against the Tigers has an ERA of 2.78. Now the 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike on Dirks. Andy 1 for 2. He's hit safely in his last 6. Downs' big league career began with the Chicago Cubs back in 2000. Made his way to Montreal, then Toronto.
Yeah, made a name for himself in Toronto.
Well, his days with the Blue Jays lasted from 2005 to 2010. He made a lot of appearances out of the bullpen, had some really good ERAs. And the 1-1. Outside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Tigers had a 1-run lead in the 4th when they got the first 2 men on. They knocked Buckner, the starter, out of the game, the emergency starter. But they would strand those 2 runners. And eventually 3. They left the bases loaded in the 4th. Had a chance to put some room between themselves and the Angels. And now LA is on top. Strike called on Dirks, 2-2.
Andy Dirks has gotten 4 pitches from Downs. All of those have been fastballs, all right around 86, 87. With 2 strikes, he likes to go to that big breaking ball to the left-handed batters.
Way outside, run it full now, 3-2.
Although Downs not necessarily known as a strikeout pitcher, it might be a little bit too risky to start Peralta from first base on the 3-2 count.
Just in case Downs throwing back. Downs last year with the Angels made 57 appearances, had an ERA in the low 3s coming out of the bullpen. He's had 2 really good years out of the Angels pen. Runner holds and a ground ball back to the mound. Downs fires to second. 1. There's a double play. Another twin killing hit into by the Tigers in this game. That's 3 of them now in the contest.
Nice feed there to Ibar. Ibar with that real good arm. And then fires a seed across the diamond to Mark Trumbo, the first baseman.
So they're empty now. That'll bring up Omar Infante. Couple of fly balls tonight for Omar, 0 for 2. Drops down a bunt. And if it stays fair, it's going to be a hit, but it won't. Took a left turn halfway down the line, 0-1. Tigers actually entered the game today with the fewest double play balls hit into. They have 3 tonight. And 2 of them of the 1-6-3 variety.
Got one club that's hit into the most in the majors, and the Angels 80. And then you have the Tigers, the fewest.
Check swing. Did he go? Did not. Mike Scioscia tonight had to use the emergency starter. That was Buckner. Buckner was able to get them into the 4th inning when De La Rosa took over and shut the door. And the offense has come back for LA to take a 4-3 lead. Outside, 2 balls, 1 strike. I mean, if you're Mike Scioscia, you had to think, uh-oh, this might be a long night. You got Buckner out there making the emergency start. 3 batters into the game. It's 2-0.
Wasn't looking good for him, that's for sure.
Hunter and Cabrera hit homers. Here's the 2-1. Bouncing ball to short. Ibar will charge. Infante is out by half a step.
Really?
Inning over. No runs, a hit, nobody left. Let's go to the 7th. Three runs, 9 hits for the Tigers. Both teams have left 5 men on base. Drew Smyly, we mentioned this. Rod, he has been a really a remarkable addition to the bullpen this year.
No issues with Smyly in his game coming out of that bullpen. He's all smiles. And he's gotten it done in a variety of different roles, whether it be very early in the game. Then Jim started to give him the 7th inning, then later trusted him with the 8th. And he's gotten himself a couple of saves as well this year.
So Smyly will go to work in the 7th inning, trying to keep this a 1-run game. He's going to face the top of the Los Angeles lineup.
46 2/3 innings logged so far this year by Drew Smyly, which is the 2nd most among American League relievers.
J.B. Shuck looks at ball 1 inside. Smyly came on and struck out Brendan Harris to end the 6th inning after the 2-run shot by Ibar put the Angels on top. The 1-0 lifted down the line, foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Shuck, then Trout, then Pujols. A little bit outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. It's 3-1 now. There's Trout waiting on deck. And he walked it. Did not want to do that. Leadoff man is on.
Here is today's high-speed stat brought to you by Charter Internet, and it's extra base hits and the leaders. Chris Davis has 52. Machado his teammate 42, but then you have a couple of guys here playing, Miguel and Mike Trout, with 41 each. Evan Longoria rounds out the top 5.
So Trout with a 2-run shot in his back pocket here tonight stands in, but facing Smiley, not a whole lot of luck. 0 for 5. The Trout 2-run homer came back in the 3rd after the double by Shuck led off the inning. Gives him 11 RBIs now in his last 7 against the Tigers. He fouls that one straight back. 0-2 on Trout.
The year didn't really begin all that good for Trout. He got off to somewhat of a slow start. He was playing left field. He wasn't really happy about that. He loved playing center field. But he has just continued to get better.
Trout given time there, and Smiley decided to halt his delivery to the plate.
Well, next time I think someone ought to tell Smiley if there's timeout.
It really wasn't very forceful, was it? And Trout was out of the box. Now Drew ready.
And there you have both Jim and Gene, and both guys going through signs. That kind of plays off what I was telling you a couple of innings ago about Socha on the other side.
Runner goes, and it's shot to right field. It's going to get down, a base hit. That'll get Shuck to third base. They're going to wave him home. Here comes Shuck to the plate. He will score. Trout has a bloop double, and the Angels get another run.
We'll make that 42 extra base hits now for the talented center fielder Mike Trout. Appeared to be a hit and run, and it looked like a real good pitch by Smiley, but somehow, some way, he was able to muscle the ball over the head of Prince for a double and an RBI. Look at the location of the pitch. It's down, it's in, and he's strong. Look at the third baseman, Dino Ebel. He is all the way down your screen, taking a look at Hunter, waving Shuck home. As a third baseman, you get down that line as far as you can so that you can give yourself a chance to send that runner home and stop him as well.
Trout has his 23rd double of the year, his 2nd extra base hit of the night. Here's Pujols, and still nobody out. It's now 5-3 in favor of the Angels. Albert tonight is 0 for 2, also hit by a pitch.
Trout will try to steal third base.
Driven to center field. Jackson is on the move. Now he'll peel back. Trout tags up. He'll get to third easily. So the Pujols fly out now moves Trout 90 feet away from home plate. More action in the Detroit bullpen. Albuquerque and Peconin. Trumbo will not bat here.
Wise decision by Jim to put him on and go after Hamilton.
Five-3 Angels lead. Here's ball 2 missing outside. And Trumbo about to be walked intentionally here. Hamilton waiting on deck. There's ball 4.
If you are Drew Smiley, you know that Hamilton loves to swing at the first pitch. And so you have to make sure that you don't make it too good a pitch. You want him to swing at it. You want it to look inviting, but you don't want it to make it too good a pitch because he is so aggressive.
A little bit of history here between these two. 3 for 9 for Hamilton with a home run. Angels offense coming into today in the last 2 games, 23 runs, 25 hits. Bats really haven't been that much of a major issue as Hamilton takes outside 1-0. Angels get 2 in the 6th, 1 more here in the 7th, and they are looking for more. Two and 0. Angels tonight just 1 for 5 with men in scoring position. Trout, Trumbo on the bases. Big swing there by Hamilton. Took a rip on a 2-0 pitch and swings right through it.
92-mile-per-hour fastball would have been ball 3, but Hamilton helps out Smiley.
Off the edge, 3-1. It's been a 1 for 3 night so far for Hamilton. 4 hits in the series. Callaspo waiting on deck. Hamilton came in a .373 hitter in this ballpark. And he pops that one up foul, back out of play. 3-2. Hamilton was the MVP, beating out Miguel Cabrera. That was back in 2010. Both had fabulous seasons. Hamilton hit .359 that year. Miggy's power numbers were better. And a bouncing ball to first. Prince tags the bag. 1 coming home. Tag safe. Trout beats the throw and scores the 6th run of the night for the Angels.
If Prince could do it all over again, he simply would come home first before tagging the bag, because by him taking that 1 step to get the out at first base, that allowed a couple of extra steps for Trout. And with his speed, he's going to get in there.
And he did. So it's a 6-3 ball game, and Smiley throws a strike on the outer edge to Alberto Callaspo. Mike Trout making his presence felt tonight. He has scored a couple of runs. He has knocked in 3. Ball high, 1-1.
Very few players, if any, are better all-around players in the game than Mike Trout. The only thing that he does not do well is throw. And there are a lot of outfielders that really don't have great throwing arms. But those other 4 tools, well above average.
Well, he was neck and neck most of last year for the MVP voting with Miguel Cabrera. Many thought at the end of the year, based on a lot of the secondary numbers, he should have won that award. Cabrera, however, won the Triple Crown and took home the hardware. One ball, 2 strikes on Callaspo. Right back up the middle into center field. This may get another run in. Trumbo rumbling home, and the throw is going to be cut off. Throw to second, and the tag there, but the run will score. So give Callaspo an RBI. Score Trumbo on the play. Big inning for the Angels. And Hunter and Cabrera had back-to-back homers in the first inning. The Tigers off to a flying start. They led 2-0, but Alvarez would give up 4 earned runs before he departed. And Mike Trout having another big game. 2 out of 4, 2-run shot, double, 3 RBIs. He's also scored a couple of runs. He totaled it all up, and the Angels lead this one by a score of 7-3. As we travel now to the bottom of the 7th inning. Brian Pena will lead things off, then Austin Jackson and Torrey Hunter. Pena is 1 for 2. And Downs still out there. Came on to face 3 batters in the 6th. Got himself a double play ball after a leadoff single. Driven toward left field on a line, but caught by Shuck. Hit it hard, but right at him, and 1 gone here in the 7th. We'll bring up Austin Jackson, top of the Tigers lineup. Mike Scioscia coming out. He'll take the baseball. And we will step aside. Pitching change here at the ballpark. 7-3 Angels. We'll be back. The 7th inning. MLB.com at bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. It's available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At bat delivers Tigers baseball with live audio, stats, news, highlights, pitch tracking, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Tigers.com. Michael Kahn is the new pitcher now for the Angels.
He pitched 1 inning in last night's game through 8 pitches. He's having a really good year. ERA just a shade over 2. 21 strikeouts. He's got a fastball that will get to 95. He also features a slider and a changeup, although the changeup he does not use very often.
Here's Austin Jackson to face him, and he looks at ball 1. 94 miles an hour from Kahn. Downs goes 1 1/3. De La Rosa was good tonight for the Angels. Angels have had to piece this one together tonight. Tommy Hanson was scheduled to start, but a late scratch as he check out the Tigers in-game box score. Hunter and Cabrera with homers tonight. Fielder has an RBI. Here's the 1-1. That's in the right center base hit. Maybe more. Let's see. It's going to go just about to the warning track, and Jackson will cruise into second. That's a double. And that'll also extend Austin's hitting streak to 10 straight.
Good AB here from Jackson. And taking the ball to right center field, thinking 2 out of the batter's box. He was able to cruise because Trout not going to throw him out. Not from that distance. Jackson not going to shave that beard until the hitting streak is done.
That could be a while.
Let's hope so.
He could end up looking like ZZ Top.
That beard needs a little work, though.
It's a little scraggly.
Yeah, it needs a little work.
It needs to fill in just a touch more.
I told him just that today.
And his response was?
He laughed.
Torrey Hunter, the batter. Ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Torrey with a homer, a double, and a strikeout. He has scored a couple of runs. Batted .370 in the month of April. Cooled down in May, but a solid .288 here in June for Hunter. Tigers trying to chip away at the 7-3 deficit in the 7th. Tipped into the glove for strike 2. 1-2 the count. 4 home runs for Torrey. His 4th came in the 1st inning. And Hunter now has 14 hits on this homestand. And the 1-2. Ground ball to first. Trumbo has it there, wins the race to the bag, advanced the runner. 2 outs. Now 1 more large hurdle for Michael Kahn. One meeting, 1 hit, and it was a homer for Miguel Cabrera. What say we make it 2 for 2?
I'll go for that.
Cabrera right now is enjoying an 11-game hitting streak. Tonight, homer and a single. Trying to drive in Jackson with 2 outs. He's at third base. Ball 1 inside from Kahn. Yikes.
Pretty good.
2 out runners in scoring position. 500. Swing and a miss.
Really the only number that's not Miguel Cabrera like this year is what he's done 7th inning or later. He has been so clutch in those situations throughout his big league career. But for whatever reason, this season numbers not really that favorable for Miguel.
Here's the 1-1. Fly ball, right field. That ball is hit well to the corner. It goes, and it is off the wall and foul. Whoa. It looked like it might be another home run down that right field line for Cabrera.
That's what makes Miggy so special is most guys, if they're going to get a fastball at 96 miles an hour, they're not going to try to hit that ball the other way. They're going to try to pull that baseball. But Miguel knows how difficult it is to try to pull 96. So he just makes sure he gets the barrel over the heart of the plate. And when he does make that kind of contact, he does major damage.
One and 2 on Miguel Cabrera. Right back up the middle, off the pitcher. He's going to have time, and Kahn throws him out. He was drilled on a missile off the bat of Miguel Cabrera.
Hit him in a good spot, though.
The backside?
Yep.
Saved a run.
Got a little padding there.
America Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, the official window company of Fox Sports Detroit. Well, the Tigers have some work to do as we go to the top of the 8th. It is 7-3 in favor of the Angels. They've scored 5 of their 7 in the last 2 innings. As Miguel Cabrera hit a bullet off the backside of Michael Kahn.
Angels come in 9 games under 500, but you would not know it the way they've played the Tigers this year.
Al Albuquerque is the new Tigers pitcher as we go to the 8th. He'll face Chris Iannetta to start things off, and a ball outside.
And really it goes back to last year, their dominance over this Tigers club.
Well, and on top of that, Rod, they came in having been swept at home by the Pirates. But they have done well here in the first 2 games. There's a strike called, 1-1.
Here's some facts, some numbers at just how dominant they've been over the Tigers in the last 7 games. 48 runs scored to 17. 309 average to 202. And the ERA is 3 runs lower than one of the best staffs in the game.
Outside, and the count now is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Albuquerque replaces Smiley here in the 8th. Al spent some time down in the minor leagues. Wave and a miss. It's the first time tonight they've gotten Iannetta.
Good breaking ball here by Albuquerque. Fastball slider is what he features. And when he's locating his slider down there, he gets lots of swings and misses.
Here comes Ibar. Off his foot.
Let's take a look at the Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. And the last pitch that Jose Alvarez threw in this game, it was pitch number 110. Eric Ibar, 2-run shot to give his team the lead 4-3 at the time. They've stretched it to 7 now.
In the air to left field. Andy Dirks backing up, and Ibar is gone, 2 away. 2 up, 2 down against Al. And he will face Brendan Harris. Tigers actually have more hits than the Angels tonight. 3 runs, 10 hits for Detroit. 7 runs, 9 hits for the Angels.
Yeah, Tigers have a couple homers too, but their homers were solo shots. A couple 2-run shots for the Angels.
Harris looks at a strike 0-1. For 3 tonight for Brendan Harris. A couple of strikeouts. Rolled foul 0-2.
Take a look at our Xfinity high-speed pitch reading of the evening, and it's on Al Albuquerque. 97 with a fastball, 87 with that slider. So that's a nice differential of 10 miles an hour between the two pitches, which is about where you want to be.
Heater at 96 missed high, 1-2.
It's the one thing that they have continually preached to Albuquerque is to use your fastball more.
Got him. Strike 3 in the outside corner. That's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Albuquerque. A couple of punch outs along the way as well. Park 7-3 in favor of the Angels here in game 2 in this series. And as soon as this one ends, you are familiar with what will happen next. It's called Tigers Live, the postgame show coming up here from manager Jim Leyland. All the players, and we'll break this one down with all the highlights. Tigers Live immediately after the game. It's right here on Fox Sports Detroit. There's some work to be done, and now the Tigers will take a look at a new pitcher. It's Kevin Jepson.
And Jepson not having a good year, although he's got a great fastball. Then we get all the way up to 97 miles an hour. He's got a slider and a curveball. Nice tight curveball to go along with the other 2 pitches, but he checks in with a 5.17 ERA.
Well, the Tigers here in the 8th inning will have fielder Martinez Peralta. Down by 4. Prince in the ball game, an RBI single that came back in the 3rd. And it's lined to left field toward the gap. That is going to get down and go up against the wall. Extras for Prince Fielder. It's a leadoff double.
And Prince Fielder took some of that pepper jack cheese you were talking about earlier today and whistled one into that left center field gap. That fastball was 97 miles an hour, and he absolutely smoked it.
Neither Shuck nor Trout could get to it before it landed up against the wall. Leadoff double here in the 8th, and now Martinez. Victor had a double back in the 1st inning, but the Tigers could not score him. Bouncing ball right side of the infield. Routine for Brendan Harris, and that'll advance the runner. One gone. Victor now is 1 for 4 tonight. That'll bring up Johnny Peralta. Johnny tonight 1 for 2. He's also drawn a walk in this game. Fastball at 95 comes up and in. 1 ball, no strikes from Jepson, who was born in Anaheim, lives in Phoenix. Went to high school in Nevada.
He's got the West Coast covered.
Pretty much. Here's the 1-0, and it's fouled back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jepson was originally drafted back in 2002, so that was a while ago. He got to the big leagues in 08. 28 years old, trying to strand fielder at third. Peralta trying to drive him in with 1 out. Swing and a miss. It gets away, and this will score the run. Prince comes in to score standing up. We'll make it 7-4.
Good to see the Tigers on the right side of one of those gift runs. The Halos had a ton of those last night.
Pass ball.
It looked like a catchable ball by Iannetta.
3-run game now, 7-4. Fielder makes good after the leadoff double. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ball high, 3-2. Jepson in the minor leagues has worked as a closer. Not so much in the big leagues. Dirk's waiting on deck. And the 3-2. Fouled back out of play. So Mike Scioscia knew early in this one he would have to go deep into the bullpen tonight. With Tommy Hanson scheduled to start, but tightness in his forearm made him a late scratch. So Scioscia this evening has had to go with De La Rosa, Downs, Kahn, and now Jepson after Buckner started. And he got him. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Johnny thought he had a walk. Not so, says Angel Hernandez.
Could have gone either way, says Fox Tracks.
Borderline. That is only the second strikeout for Angels pitching tonight. Buckner, the starter, had the other. Actually, no. It was De La Rosa who had the other. There's a strike called on Dirks. And he hit into a double play in his last at bat. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Now the 0-1. Tigers have 11 hits tonight, but they've only been able to push across 4 runs. Luke Picon's still up there in the Detroit bullpen along with Benoit. Strike on the outside corner, which elicits a look from Andy Dirks back to Angel Hernandez. Andy behind now, 1-2. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's going to be a pretty good one tomorrow. It's going to be Fister and Weaver for the series finale. The Tigers trying, if they don't come back tonight, to avoid the sweep. And we're talking about the season series. Tigers down by 3 in this one. Fouled straight back, 2-2. Dirks hurt his knee during spring training, which probably had a lot to do with the slow start that he got off to this year. Andy up to 256 right now in a 6-game streak. Swing and a miss. He chased out of the strike zone at 95. Down he goes. Tigers settle for 1. We go to the 9th. Now in favor of the Angels as we go to the 9th inning, and here is the upcoming pitching matchup presented by Gordon Chevrolet. It's going to be Jared Weaver on the hill for the Angels in the ballgame tomorrow. Doug Fister will go for the Detroit Tigers. It'll be Weaver's first start in this ballpark since the fireworks that the Tigers had with Weaver, the Guillen home run and all the fun stuff that went with it. Luke Pekonen is the new pitcher now for Detroit.
2.08 ERA for Pekonen, and he gets used quite often out of that bullpen, especially in this homestand.
Here's a bunt. That's a foul ball.
July 31st, 2011, Carlos Guillen hit a home run against Weaver, and he pimped it like no one I've ever seen in a big league game. I'd have been hot, too, if I was Weaver. He blew a gasket. He should have.
He blew a couple of gaskets.
Did you see the look that Carlos Guillen gave him?
Yeah. I don't blame Weaver at all for being upset. There's a foul. Then Avila had to, I guess, suffer the brunt as he had the pitch thrown at him. They threw Weaver out of the game. But it was something else that day. Justin Verlander had a no-hitter going in that game.
He sure did.
Ibar had a bunt to break it up, so it was quite a day here. Here's the 0-2. Shuck takes the ball low.
Look at this look that Carlos gives him after the homer. That's not right. You're not supposed to do that to grown men.
Favorite home run ever The 1-2 is a bouncing ball left side. Going to be a tough play for Johnny. He's going to have no play. Infield single to lead things off. It's going to bring up Mike Trout. Two out of 4 tonight. Another multi-hit game for Trout, which gives him 32 this year, which ties him with Cabrera and Machado for the most in the American League. He's done some damage tonight. 3 RBIs, including a 2-run shot. So the Angels now have double-digit hits with 10 of their own. The Tigers have 11. And Detroit in the bottom of the ninth will have Infante, Pena, and Jackson due up. And Peconin trying to make sure it stays a 3-run game. Strike on the outer edge. 0-1 on Trout. Edging off the bag, J.B. Shuck. Missed it high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Peconin follows Albuquerque, who had himself a 1-2-3/8. In fact, Al struck out a couple of Angels. Smiley also pitched out of the Tiger bullpen tonight. Two and 1 on Mike Trout. If there was any justice in baseball, Trout would have been drafted by the Marlins. But he wasn't. 2-1.
He's happy he didn't get drafted by the Marlins.
You said it. There's the strike call.
Only thing they got going on down there is the beach.
That's it.
That's it.
That and Giancarlo Stanton. The beach. 2-2.
Nice scenery on that beach too.
I don't know what you're talking about. Here's the 2-2 runner goes, and a ground ball back up the middle. Look at that play by Infante. The tag one and a double play.
That's a beautiful play.
Wow.
Shuck was on the move. He couldn't stop because he really didn't know where the ball was hit because he had his head down. And he runs right into Infante. Infante applies the tag, and he had to hurry because Trout gets down the line from that right side of the batter's box at about 3.8 to 4 as far as the speed is concerned, and that's really, really fast.
Great play by Infante. 2 outs. And a strike called on Pujols. Bang, bang.
Been a lot of close calls down there tonight. And Paul Nart's got every last one of them right.
Whistled back out of play 0-2. Well, we get the obviously the benefit of the replay. We can slow it down. We can take a look at different angles. But in the end, Major League umpires way more times than not get it correct. Peconin ready with the 0-2. Ooh, look out, bouncing in, and that ate up Pena. Don't catch him on the face.
Looked like it might have got him on the left cheek, left side of the chin. Angel Hernandez giving him a lot of time.
Man, you got to be tough to play that position, both mentally and physically. 1-2 on Pujols. Strike called. Got him looking. Albert is out of there. Pekonen faces only 3 batters in the ninth. Here comes the bottom of the ninth.
By head and shoulders, and it was back in the 4th inning. The bases were loaded. De La Rosa came in as relief of Billy Buckner, who started, and he got Torrey Hunter with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball.
Well, it's last call time now for the Tigers. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Angels are up by 3, 7-4. Each team with double-digit hit totals. 11 for Detroit, 10 for the Angels. Tigers now will face Ernesto Frieri.
He's having a decent year. 47 strikeouts, 19 walks for Frieri. 95, 96 with his fastball. Also a slider. Very few changeups. 17 saves and 19 chances, so he's blown a couple.
Got some defensive changes as well. Peter Borges going to enter the game. Trout will move from center to left, and Borges will be patrolling center field. It'll be Omar Infante to lead it off against Frieri. Infante, Pena, and Jackson due up. And Omar looks at a strike call, 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Frieri may be their last bullet in their bullpen because Richards threw a lot of pitches yesterday and had to be taken out in the 9th inning. That's it for a strike.
We've seen 5 guys trot out that bullpen tonight for the Halos, and 4 of the 5 fastballs in the mid-90s. And the only one that didn't throw a fastball in the mid-90s, Scott Downs.
Omar takes outside, 1-2.
Started with De La Rosa, and then Kahn, Jepson, and now Frieri.
23 saves last year for Frieri. He stole 17 a couple of years ago, or I should say saved 17 a couple of years ago.
He stole them. Same thing.
That's back out of play down the right field line. 1-2. That 17 save season was back in 2010 with the Padres. Ernesto Frieri, a native of Bolivar, Colombia. Here's the 1-2. Another foul back out of play as Infante spoiled a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Fonte doesn't go down swinging all that often. He's the third hardest batter in the American League to strike out once every 10 at bats, or 10 plate appearances to be more exact. But he's down in the hole here, 1-2. And a swing and a miss. And he chased one out of the strike zone. Frieri didn't care about stats. One gone.
Haven't seen Omar do this a lot this year, and try to climb the ladder that high to get to a fastball that you can't get to. Not at that velocity.
Third straight strikeout now for Angels pitching. Here is Brian Pena. That ball moves inside, 95-mile-an-hour heater. Pena 1 for 3. And Brian came in batting .325 over his previous 23 games. Trying to get something started here in the ninth. And the 1-1. We'll get back out of play. 1-2 on Pena. Here's the 1-2, and it's outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the bullpen availability for the Angels. You can see all the guys crossed off. Buckner had to start this game.
Socha is hoping that he does not have to use any of those last 2.
Fouled straight back. He's also hoping that Jared Weaver gives him a rather lengthy outing tomorrow. Two and 2 on Brian Pena. Jackson waiting on deck. Slice to center field. Borges will back off and played it on 1 hop. It's a 1-out single. So there is hope now for the Tigers here in the 9th inning. 1 on, 1 out. One more base runner and they bring the tying run to the plate. There's Jackson. Jay extended his hitting streak to 10 straight with a double back in the 7th. And a .307 average now for Jackson. In there for a strike. 0-1. Tigers themselves tonight have gone with Smiley out of the bullpen along with Albuquerque and Pekkonen. Strike called. 0-2 on Jackson. Frieri spent parts of 7 minor league seasons before he finally got his first big league opportunity with the San Diego Padres. And he pitched a lot of minor league innings. And that's fouled back out of play. 0-2 the count stays. Ernesto Frieri. You know what his Twitter handle is?
What would that be?
Ernasty49.
Pretty creative. That's creative.
Ernesto thinks he's Ernasty. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Again, mid-90s, up with the letters. Down goes Jackson.
Yeah, he got to Infante on that same heater. Up above the letters.
You see the look on Jackson's face. Man.
You don't have much time to think to decide whether that ball is going to be in the hitting zone or not when a guy has a mid-90s fastball. A lot of times you have to start your swing and you have to hold up, obviously, if it's a ball, but if it's in that zone, at least you got a nice head start.
Last chance for the Tigers, Torrey Hunter.
Well, you know, Torrey has one thing in mind, and that's somehow, some way, get on base and get to number 24 in the batter's box before this game is over.
He represents the tying run on deck. That's Cabrera. Runner going. And it's fouled back out of play. So Pena heads back to first base. 0-2 the count on Torrey. Got to get him up there. Here's the 0-2. Bouncing ball to short. Should do it. Ivar has it. And that is that. And the Angels continue their mastery over the Tigers. They win it 7-4 here tonight. And they've won every game so far in the season series. Another big night for Mike Trout. Angels win it. We'll be back.